Hi friend, thanks for joining me today. So today we're going to use 2 to 3 pound hand weights to recreate some of my favorite arm movements and exercises that are commonly seen on the reformer on the mat. Even though we're primarily going to be working the arms today, nothing works in isolation, never does. So we're working back muscles, abs, pelvic stability, lengthening, working our quads, lots of other things. Let's get going. One of the little things before we get going that I want to mention is there's going to be a lot of kneeling in this series. You can do this whole thing standing up. You can do this seated in a chair. I'm just choosing to do a kneeling position today because it's quick. It's fast, it's what I have available on my mat, and it also is a good challenge for my pelvic stability to kind of connect to my glutes and lengthen through my quads, but please make it work for you if kneeling is not an accessible or comfortable position. Okay, now let's get going. So I'm gonna come up to a kneeling position, I'm gonna press my hips forward, push the tops of the feet down, and just start with a little side bend. So even if you feel like you can tolerate more weight, I never wanna tell people like don't add more weight. Adding more load is fabulous, but because some of these movements that we're going to be doing today take the arms quite far away from the body, it might feel like a light weight to start, and then it'll start to feel quite heavy. So maybe go just a little bit lower than you think you need to, and if it feels easy, then you can just do this workout like 3 or 4 times in a row and add hard weights or heavier weights in a progression. Let's do one more each side. And back up. I'm going to turn side view for the next part of the series. So I'm going to find, if you're finding a kneeling position, push the hips forward, hug the inner thighs towards each other, and then balance the ribs right over the pelvis. And we're just going to start with a little reach. Up and back. Starting to work the shoulders. My elbows are just micro bent. And what I'm really feeling is that movement from the shoulder blade as I draw my arms up and down. So connecting the back muscles, letting the shoulders move. I'm going to do about 3 more. And 2. Noticing how much reciprocal movement in the body I need. And 1. Taking the arms out to the sides of the room, little bend through the elbows, going for a hug a tree variation, out and in. Just 6 of these. And 4, keep lifting the crown of the head up, pushing the hips forward, 3, and 2, and 1. Taking the weights together, scoop the elbows forward at about a 45-degree angle. You're going to send the weights up to the ceiling, so it's like a little tricep press, salute, shave the head situation. This one I'm really trying to concentrate on lifting my ribs off the pelvis. And with the reformer, you have the springs behind you, so you can kind of lean forward into the springs, but I'm challenging myself to do a little pitch forward. We're going to do about 8 of these. And let's do 1 more. Taking the arms down, going for more of a traditional chest expansion. Going to reach the arms back and forward and back and forward. So even though I'm thinking about expanding my chest forward, I'm not just letting my ribs get the best of me. Keeping the front and the back body connected. 2, and 1. From there, I'm going to face you. I'm going to go ahead and take 1 foot up into kind of a little half lunge position, so I'm getting a little bit of hip work going on. I'm going to bend that same elbow as the knee that's bent and go up to the ceiling for 6, 5. Again, feeling my shoulder blade move. Don't need to keep the shoulder blade totally down the back. When the arm goes up, the shoulder blade goes up a little bit too. It's natural and it's good. 1 more. Letting that weight just rest on the thigh. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the opposite weight to my opposite hip, draw out to the side of the room. You also can just let that arm hang down if that feels good. 4. Following the weight with my eyes. 3. Little rotator cuff, little upper back. 2. And 1. I'm going to take the weight down. I'm going to stretch the leg that was just bent long. And then I'm going to send my arm up and bend the elbow. So my elbow isn't pointing back behind me. It's a little bit on a diagonal forward, kind of up to the ceiling. And I'm just going to straighten. And 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. 1. Making my way back up over to side 2. I'm going to find that little lunge position, a little opening through the inner thigh, and I'm going to punch the opposite weight up to the ceiling. Thinking about drawing my ribs down as the arm goes up. Hips don't need to be totally square. It's fine. They can be a little bit rotated towards that bent knee. It depends on how much external rotation you have. 1 more. And I'm just going to let the weight hang down on this side. Draw the opposite hand to the opposite hip out to the side of the room. So I'm going to notice if I'm getting excited and taking my arm back. Again, it's not a bad movement. But if I'm focusing more on keeping that like congruency, that stability through the shoulder, if I punch a little bit out on a slightly forward diagonal, I'm going to have a little more success in creating that shoulder stability. Okay, taking the weight down, I'm going to stretch this leg long. I'm going to reach that weight up, bend the elbow, back of the hand is towards my forehead, and then I'm just going to straighten a little tricep. And lat, and obliques, and hips, and neck. Nothing works in isolation. 3, and 2, and 1. I'm going to come up. I'm just going to turn the other way just for kicks. All right, and then we're going to come into like a little half squat position. So if you're doing this standing, you're just going to bend your knees and stick your tush out a little bit. I'm going to glue my elbows back towards my ribs, roll my shoulder blades down and back, and then ribs come in a little bit, and I'm going to extend back for 8. Just good old triceps. 6, 5, 4, back of the neck long. 3, 2, 1. Turn my palms to face back. Again, widen through the collarbones and kind of suction the shoulder blades on the back, pulsing up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to swing the weights forward. I'm going to come back up tall into my knees, really get the rib cage connected to the front of my pelvis, so front of the ribs, front of the pelvis, staying in a space hold with those arms, and I'm going to start to go for a thigh stretch back and up. Let's go for 6. We have 5 more. Pressing the tops of the feet down nice and equally. Just feeling those quads say, hey, we're here. We're awesome. We support you. And 2, connected to the inner thighs, connected to the backs of the legs. 1, stay in your thigh stretch. Pull the low ribs in, reach long through the base of the skull. Turn the arms up. Here we go, biceps for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then reach the weights forward to come up. Whew. Okay, turning back around, and then we're going to turn the palms to face forward, slight bend through the elbows, going for an easy arm circle for 4. I'm choosing to keep the weights just barely higher than my shoulders, but you could definitely go higher if you like. Drawing circles, I can still see the weights in my peripheral vision, reversing direction. And 4, 3, 2, 1, and then letting the weights hang. Let them just gently drop the shoulders. Let your head drip over to one side. If you feel like you want more weight, you can take both weights into the opposite hand. Get a nice little neck stretch. Roll the head down, maybe change the weights over to the other side. And stretch. Fix your hair. Taking the weights back, sitting down. Thanks weights. Thank you. Thanks arms. I'll see you next time. Take good care, guys. Bye.